Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flix Show. My name is Chris Wong. This is going to be a very spoilery review of Zack Snyder's Justice League. I contemplated, should I do a non-spoiler review? Well, I kind of did that with the initial reaction, though that was more of an emotional reaction and my quick thoughts on the movie. I figured I can't really do a non-spoiler review without spoiling something, because there's a lot here to be talked about, and you really should watch it. So I only gave my emotional thoughts on that, but now it's a spoiler review. So if you haven't watched Zack Snyder's Justice League, and if you're not able to, please don't watch this. I want you to be surprised, shocked, and whatever. Avoid the internet. I don't even know why you're on here. Just avoid it altogether. And when you're done watching it, then you can come back here and see if our thoughts line up in terms of the movie. But for those of you who are still here, you've seen the thumbnail, you've seen the title. The title, it says spoilers. Come on, it's spoilers. So here we go. Zack Snyder's Justice League came out this weekend. Absolutely adored it. I've watched it 3 times on a screener, 3 times on HBO Max now. I love it. This is a masterpiece. This is an incredible saga, an epic of gigantic movie. It's huge. It's like Homer. It's like it's big. It's gargantuan. It's biblical. It's mythological, and it has a lot of great feelings toward this. But it's about the heroes. It's very mythological. It's about myths on Earth. It's about this gods among us, if you will, and things that happened to them. It's about characters. It's about them more so than about the world that surrounds them. I mean, the world is at stake, but I like to say that this movie revolves about the characters, of how they perceived each other, perceived themselves, and more of how they come to terms with themselves and what they want truly, what they want, more than a bit about how the world wants from them, if you know what I mean. So I thought that was kind of a great way to spin this Justice League story, because there's a lot of main characters here, and they all have they all have a moment in the sun, if you will, in the spotlight, and I think that really is a cool way to do it. So let's get on with the characters, because this is about characters. I want to go through each character in a way to see how their arcs were taking place. So this whole thing starts with Superman. It really does, because he started it all. He started in Man of Steel. He started in Batman v Superman. He dies in Batman v Superman. The story takes place right at his moment of death, and you see the sound waves from his screams and those nah. And it's a great way to kind of introduce you to the worlds that we will be visiting, the worlds that contain the Mother Box that we will have to visit. We have to visit, one's on regular, Earth, regular planet, we're modern society, if you will, like modern humans, if you will, and that is, the land dwellers, of course. That's not Themyscira. That is where Ray Fisher, who plays Victor Stone, Cyborg, his Mother Box awakens. So it's right there, it awakens up, and then the sound travels down to the deepest ocean, to the Atlanteans, and you see Atlantis, and you see the Mother Box being awakened over there. So you get a little bit intro to that world. You also get an intro to a little intro to the Themyscira, as well as you see that one awake over there, and quite hilarious that one guard, she touches the thing and she jumps back. But I like it during Themyscira, where she's like, maybe it's just sleep. Maybe it went back to sleep. I was cracking up. That was a funny comment from her. But yeah, so we get introduced to that. We also see the reaction from Lois. We see the reaction from Batman. We see the reaction from Wonder Woman as well, in terms of that, of this man's death. And then his arc pretty much is that's pretty much it. until he comes back, when he comes back. But I like the part where they're all around the mother box. All the heroes are around the mother box, and they're talking about how to bring him back. And they're alluding to that we need somebody who is as strong as Steppenwolf to take him on, because the mother boxes, they didn't wake up until they heard Superman's death, and it didn't wake up. It didn't call out to the apocalypse apocalypse, because they were afraid of him. The mother boxes were afraid of him. He is a Kryptonian. He is very strong, and you do see it at the end of the movie. But he's very strong, and so it doesn't wake up until his scream wakes up the mother boxes, and then when they talk about him, that they should bring him back, his holograph comes up. First you hear the Man of Steel theme, and chills, man, chills when you see his hologram, and it's the camera circling around to each person, all the way up to Bruce Wayne, and it's just the Man of Steel music is so awesome. That's like the hero, like the big hero, though, the one they need in this moment of time. They need him to help them out, and so they wake him up just like how you see it in the theatrical version, with more fighting. Certainly love the actual comedic elements of Flash missing, or actually, Clark Kent steps aside and Flash goes right past him and knocks out Aquaman in the process. Those little things are really hilarious. There's even him actually lasering Batman. Yeah, he does not hold back. Like, for people who are wondering, like, how can Batman beat Superman and Batman v Superman? Because that was Superman. That was Superman knowing he's a good guy, and he is not. He was trying to, if he wanted to, he would have ended him just like that. Well, now it's a Superman that didn't know he's just, lost his. He didn't have his memory back, and he's just really just attacking Batman. Thankfully, Batman had those gauntlets that Alfred made. That it's kind of like Wonder Woman's gauntlets, which is Wonder Woman had a really funny reaction to that, and he's able to take on the laser beams at least once here, and then the second one. But that would have been it for him if he hadn't put his arm up. So definitely you see Superman really going at him at that. So which was really cool. He doesn't speak until he gets to the farmhouse. Then he, comes, pretty much almost to, well, the dialogue between the Whedon version and this one is night and day. This one makes a lot more sense. It's a lot more emotional. Talks about her picking up the ring finally, said yes, and things like that. And it's a fantastic thing. He gets his suit. You hear Jor-El's voice. You hear Jonathan's voice. And they're all both encouraging him and things like that. It's such a masterful moment. It really brings you back towards the other two movies that reminds you this is a Superman arc story. This is him returning. He's coming back. But, not in the blue and red yet. He still is going to use the black suit for now. And right here is a scene where he shoots up into space, absorbs the sun energy, goes to Alfred, asks him what's going on, and then, heads and fights Steppenwolf, which is one of the amazing moments of Steppenwolf. It's so freaking awesome. This was what I was waiting for. The one that revises the list, the ones that was supposed to revise the list, and this was it. He comes in, saves Cyborg from the axe, hits him over here, and he says, "Not impressed." Or unimpressed. I think it's not impressed. And then he hits him, he lasers him, and everything is so awesome. It clearly shows he is, the alpha here. He is he is taking down Steppenwolf. There's nothing can stop him from taking down Steppenwolf. Of course, that's not enough, and things go to hell, things go to shit in terms of that, where Flash had to come in and save the day pretty much. But he does a little bit more. He helps pull about the boxes and knocks Steppenwolf to Wonder Woman, and so that's pretty much all the action pieces that takes place. And then at the end, you do have that scene where he talks to Bruce, and Bruce bought the bank, so on and so forth, and he does the shirt rip as well. Now, when he does the shirt rip, it doesn't turn to the red and blue suit. He still is in the black and silver, the silver S. So that, to me, means that from then on, there will still be more. At least Justice League 2, he'll still be in the black suit until maybe Justice League 3, if we get it. Well, he returns to the red and blue. Or, during the Nightmare Vision, he's going to have the red and blue. So we'll talk more about the Nightmare stuff later on as we progress. But that's pretty much Superman's arc. He's returned. He's come back. He's a savior. He's a hero. And you have a little bit of that relationship with Lois as well. So I thought that was it was a really cool thing to see him return, and that, and being a big Superman fan. So I love that aspect of it. All right, so now we get it, because we're talking about Superman, we got to get into Lois. And just to say, there is a cameo right there. There's Zack Snyder drinking coffee, or he's drawing or something. He's right there preparing to make the next movie, I guess, maybe, I don't know, but he was right there. But this is all about Lois. Lois is, not much speaking parts, but her silent acting is very good. I think she just shows that she's been mourning for a while. She's depressed. She keeps going back to the site to see her, I guess would be fiance, because she kind of said yes, fiance, her dead fiance, over and over. She meets Mark McClure, who plays a cop that's at that location all the time, brings him coffee as well as her own. And I think that's... and it just shows you how many times she's been there. This has been about a month or so after, BVS. So there is a little bit of semblance of things have moved on. There was a newspaper that showed nothing about Superman or things like that, but people have kind of moved on from Superman. But like I said, this is more about the characters and what their thoughts and things are. So it's very much a character study of each character here, and it's their story from their viewpoint as we go through it. We do have her talking to a Martha, and reveals a little bit about she's not working as a journalist anymore, so that's part of it. But for the most part, it's not too much of Lois. She is instrumental in being the person to get Superman to stop attacking Batman in the Heroes Memorial Park. So that's pretty much the same. And later, she has a little thing that is revealed, and this is a big spoiler, but apparently she is pregnant. Yeah, in one scene, she opens up the drawer, and there is a pregnancy test in, and she goes and takes it. And what we think is pretty much she's pregnant with what we assume is Clark's kid. Because I know, by the way, thanks to Ben Everts for this graphic. He put this graphic out. He tweeted us out. But that force majeure, I don't know how you say it, is actually means unforeseeable circumstances. So that's the definition of that made up company name for that pregnancy test, and Zach, put that in there. He made you see it twice too. He made you see it when she picked up the ID, and he made you see it again when she looked at it again. So making sure you notice that, oh, she's pregnant, and what was assumed to be Clark's baby, right? And I would still assume that because, the original storyboards, I understand, had Bruce and Lois getting together, but nowhere in this movie at all, at least even hinted at, that they were even an item. Like she just went to that place every day, the memorial every day, and there is no indication whatsoever that they've even talked or anything together at all, So unless that is surprisingly revealed in the next movie at this point in time, I would have to assume this is definitely Clark's baby. So that's all pretty much I can assume from that. But that is one of the biggest reveals. In fact, even at the end, I think she even had I thought she had something in a baby carriage, or what do you call that? I should know, I have 3 kids, but the thing that carries a baby, and that's why Bruce tells Clark congratulations towards the end of that movie. So that was something that I noticed. But not much from her, like I said, that arc, not too much. But Batman is the other character. This is where I'm thinking like most of it, just kind of like Batman v Superman theatrical. This is a kind of a Batman movie. He wants to redeem himself. He wants to get a team together in the absence of Superman, and he's doing anything possible to get the team together. He frustrates Alfred, and I love his interactions with Alfred. I love how they banter back and forth. I love that dynamic, absolutely, especially with the charging bull. Don't wave the red cape at it. But yeah, you would wave this red cape at it, because this red cape would absolutely charge that bull, right? So red cape meaning Superman. Or even things like when he asks, have you gotten that, figured out who that person was in that, in that convenience store, which is Flash, and he says, possibly Barry Allen. And he says, every time you say possibly, I have $100 or something like that. For every dollar, $100. And he said, and Alfred gives him crap for it. So I was like, oh, that's such a cool dynamic between the two. I can't wait. Hopefully there is more to that, because it's an absolutely incredible dynamic between Alfred and Bruce here, in terms of what they talk about, and Alfred is absolutely hilarious, trying to make gauntlets and things like that, doing things like that. It's really cool. And I even like the last part where, before in Batman v Superman, he was all about doom and gloom. There was nothing like that. But now, because of Superman and the sacrifice Superman did, he himself is doing everything possible to honor that one, to honor that promise that he would honor Superman and do everything right by him. To the point at the end, he's telling Alfred, right before they go on the mission, he's like, he'll come. And he's like, well, how do you know he'll come? How do you know Superman will come? And he tells Alfred, faith, Alfred. Have faith. And that is something that is a huge arc between that, from how he was in BVS, and to a more hopeful, optimistic Batman in Justice League, which is a different arc altogether. In fact, towards the end of the film, where he sees, and just going to say right now, I'm going to talk about it later, but Martian Manhunter, he sees Martian Manhunter. Martian Manhunter is an alien in BVS, and before in BVS, he'd be like more pessimistic towards things that are not human, right? He's like racist in that way, and he's afraid of aliens and things like that. But this time, he sees an alien, and he says, oh, I'm glad you're here. Yeah, we could use more help. He's very optimistic. He's very open arms about it. And so that is also a different character than he's, originally in BVS. So he's definitely has changed here in a way. And also, there's a lot more going on with this Batman, especially towards in the other nightmare visions that that happens, that I will talk about later. But the last battle, the final act, he does a lot more with the big turret gun. He shoots down parademons. A lot more action with Batman in it. Shall I say we don't get that warehouse Batman scene? I think that is still reserved to be one of the best Batman action scenes ever in terms of the Snyderverse. Batman v Superman is still absolutely the best. He does get a lot to do here, but going against parademons is pretty hard in itself, but he still gets a lot to do in here, and I love it's still almost a Batman, so he is the one that's bringing everybody together. It kind of starts with him, and it also ends with him. So even though I'd like to say that this is a 5-part Superman story, and it kind of is in the background, from BVS and to this, it's becoming very much a Batman's story, as well as he becomes the leader of this whole ragtag team of adventurers too. And as you can see here, the nightmare future happens as well. Wonder Woman, absolutely amazing. Back to her original form. For people who didn't care for the Wonder Woman 1984, she is just as compassionate, though, as you see here. After pretty much killing terrorists, she just kills terrorists. I think maybe some of them are knocked down, but there is some blood, and there's one she actually vanquishes with her, her block here, and it is which is okay, like. I didn't care, but a lot of other people cared. But I felt like, yeah, that's the Wonder Woman. Even my wife and I, after this whole scene where she takes out the terrorists, we're like, that's the Wonder Woman that we want to see. That's the one. She's quick, she's fast, she's brutal, she's awesome, but she can come down and be compassionate. She's telling everybody to get up off the knees. No, come on, get up. And then she talks to a little girl. Great, fantastic. That's how the Wonder Woman wanted to see. When she needs to be brutal, she will be brutal. When she needs to be compassionate, she will be compassionate. And even her interaction with Alfred is absolutely hilarious when she's going to make a tea one way and he's very adamant about making tea another way or something like that. And I thought that was really cool. I'm like, come on, she's been here for like thousands of years. She doesn't know how to make tea, but I think he has a particular way of making tea, and he's so controlling about certain things. I mean, even, and I forgot to mention, like, Bruce Wayne tells the entire members, like, he's my boss, I answer to him, he's like, that's Alfred, right? So this, I think it's kind of cute in that way. And she even comments about Alfred making the gauntlets and says, why don't you make a lasso, but make sure it's black? And I was like, that's hilarious. See, there are moments of comedy in here that doesn't need to be, and this light keeps going on. That doesn't need to be forced. It doesn't need to be thrown in. It works seamlessly, and it's magical when it comes out. And so I love it. I also like that she seems to be there. There is like a sub little plot in here where it feels like she wants to go home. Especially when the whole point of Themyscira, where Queen Hippolyta shoots an arrow and she's like, return to me, and at the end she's looking out towards the sea like she is longing. And I thought from the teaser she is afraid for the future, but no, I think she's longing to go back home. She misses home. She misses Themyscira, and I think that is part of her story that will probably be in Justice League 2 and 3. Or just actually maybe just Justice League 2, which is kind of like what the storyboards were, right? But instead of having one of the lady show up, it's just an arrow. So I think there are elements of that will be explored. But because it's Wonder Woman, I have to talk about Themyscira. Themyscira is the Amazons. Awesome. This is the Amazons that are true to their name. They are awesome warriors. They're like Spartans, and they are powerful. They are brave. There's a lot of action within it. The whole Themyscira fight with Steppenwolf and the Parademons, top notch. Absolutely love it. They are so freaking cool. This is the kind of Themyscira I want to see. This is the one I really want to see. I mean, I can't wait for her to go back and then have a whole Themyscira movie, because there is so much to be explored in Amazon. And I love how Zack not only shows them, but he also shows the regular residents of Themyscira doing their thing, reacting to this boom tube coming down. I love that because and little things like how they're playing music and bringing out the Artemis's arrow. You really have a sense of culture, like this is lived, right? That sense of culture is there. The sense of pride, the sense of honor, the sense of them being who they are. They're presenting your culture to us, and I love that. I love that it's world building at the same time as narrating this movie, right? It's just there's more things going on in this culture, and to show that is magnificent in that sense. So that's why I said, like, it's very cultural, it's very mythological. It plays off like a Greek myth, if you will, and it's absolutely fantastic. And I can't wait to see more of Themyscira in future installments. But Wonder Woman is fantastic. She fights hard, and she fights Steppenwolf. She really, I like the part where she takes out a parademon, and he's looking at his axe, and he's looking at her, and in a way, it's like that samurai moment where like draw your sword or something, right? And then so he grabs the axe, she just boosh right through it, and even the part where he's telling the parademon, he's like saying she's mine, and when she says this, she says, I belong to no one. I belong to no one. I'm like, whoa, yes, that's Wonder Woman. She belongs to no one. And so that's fantastic. What she has, I'm super satisfied. I don't even know if I can go back to Wonder Woman in 1984 now, because this is the type of Wonder Woman I want to see. And I could definitely see that people want to see, people were excited that if Zack Snyder could ever, in a way, get involved with the next Wonder Woman movie in some sense. He doesn't have to direct it, but be involved in some of the things in there. I would absolutely, because he did it right. He does her correctly. He does her right. Absolutely adore this version of Wonder Woman, and I can't wait to see another version. I can't wait to see Justice League 2. But it's going to be sad seeing in Justice League 2, and I'll get there in a moment. But let's go to Flash. Flash, incredible. Not only is he funnier in this one, but it doesn't take away, the comedy doesn't take away from his badass character at all. He's able to dodge parademon like comedically, but with just as much confidence, pushes that parademon out of the way in a battle. I love the scene where he's in the stairwell and Cyborg is trying to get the Starlab sciences up. He's like speeding us, like, come on, hurry up, man, hurry. Are you okay? Or, hurry up. It's awesome. And I gotta talk about him rescuing Iris. Very artistic, very dramatic, and I wouldn't even say romantic, as he sees her in such an angel glow as she's like coming out of the car, and comedic as well as he grabs a hot dog. There's a lot of hot dogs in this scene. So I'm pretty happy that I chose hot dog to be my reference for Zack Snyder's Justice League, not knowing that there was going to be this much hot dogs in this movie. So it's really cool that it is there, to the point that he grabs the hot dog, sticks it in his pocket for the dogs later on. I thought that was hilarious, and it does. He had that sense. He's kind of like he's kind of like that Marvel version, Quicksilver. Is that his name, Quicksilver? And in a way, the one from the newer X-Men's. Not the old, not the Avengers Ultron one, but the one for the newer X-Men. He felt kind of like that, but he has his own. Barry Allen has his own quirkiness. He really talks really fast and throws in these little things, and I love it. I love that he does that. I love also he knows about the science a lot. He throws in the science to counter with, not counter, but to add to when Cyborg talks about the mother box and things like that. So very much, and his interaction with his father, Henry Allen, shows you that emotional core, that that meaning of trying to look to be something that his father can be proud of. He wants his father to be proud of him, and his father keeps telling him, don't look in the past, make your own future, which is a line that he says at the end of the movie as he's going into the Speed Force. That connection from that talk, that feeling of trying to get his father proud and stuff like that, gets reflected on into the end, and it makes it much more compelling, not compelling, but much more stronger, that connection with what he was talking to his father about. And I thought that was really cool. But he does get some funny scenes. Him and Aquaman even has a funny scene where he's telling him, how's my hat? Which hat? And Aquaman's like, let me see the first one again. Him and Victor Stone, there's one moment where they're digging up Superman's body, and he tells Cyborg, like, I can do this I can dig this up in a nanosecond, right? And Cyborg glances over at the tombstone, and he looks over too, and he's like, yeah, Superman was my hero, and it's like out of respect for Superman that they don't just rush and dig it up. They dig it up slowly, meticulously, like out of respect in trying to get him up. And I thought that was a very small gesture towards a little bit of how they thought about Superman. So I thought that was cool. To him, Superman was his hero. Um, but yeah, the best part, I'd say, the biggest and best part was when he, fails, right, the first time to get to speed up and get to, Cyborg, and be able, so Cyborg can go into the mother box. But his that part when he gets shot, you really felt that, and you felt his pain. The way he acted over his, like, he's holding it, is like, oh, just give me a moment. I was like feeling really bad for him. I'm like, oh man, he's got taken down, but he's gonna heal fast. But also that, it was his responsibility. He had to do what he had to do, to go against the rules and stuff like that, and to change back time. I thought that was one of the most powerful things that he's done. As much as we say this is Cyborg's movie or whatever, or Batman's movie, Flash took it home. To Flash, man, this is the powerful Flash you've always wanted to see him, going through the Speed Force, doing what it takes. His quivering as he's like, it's all right now, trying to get in there. And the shot, it was beautiful, him bringing back the fabrics of reality or whatever, to rewind back time or whatever. And it was an amazing moment, seeing Superman get all his flesh back and Cyborg getting his skull back. It was absolutely magnificent. It was some of the best. I am blown away by this scene. The music that Junkie XL goes over this scene as well is amazing. It's like I am speechless. The whole thing. I was like, once he starts getting back in time, my family and we were cheering. Says, "Go Flash, go, go, go!" I was like, yes. Oh man, it was incredible. So, absolutely better than Dostoevsky. So they really made him shine in this scene. All their characters had a moment to shine, and this is one of them for Flash. So absolutely incredible job here from Ezra Miller here. Cyborg, man, lots to talk about Cyborg. This is Cyborg's movie, definitely. As much as they say that this is a lot of Batman stuff, this is really mostly about Cyborg. Because it's about his origin, of how he became to be, his emotional connection with his father, or in not non-emotional connection to his father, like the struggle that the father has for him. The father is looking after him as a scientist and also as a father. Cyborg rejecting him as a father because, he never came to his games. He never came for him. There was this little moment in the car with, Victor Stone talking to Eleanor Stone before the car crash, and he's breaking down crying, and I'm like, oh man, that's, I feel like that. Like, I'm always working, and why do I have time for my kids? Like, what do they think? What do they feel? Do they think like, daddy's always working? So I also feel that, like, I should be there for them. And I think in my mind, I'm like, Silas, where when they went to the hospital, and that was so sad. It was so sad because he saw that, his wife died, but his son is dying on the table, and he was not there for them. And he was like, the feeling of hopelessness is so immense, and that I was disappointed they never had any of this within the theatrical version. But who cares now, because it's in Zack Snyder's version. Silas Stone, lots of stuff, lots of scenes with Silas Stone as well, and it becomes more of a Victor Stone story than almost anything else in this movie, and rightfully so, because you show the dynamics, you show the sacrifice, Silas sacrifice, Cyborg sacrifice. Everybody is sacrificing something. This movie is all about self-sacrifice in a way, and he gives up a lot. He gives up being human. He gives up all these things, and to his, not even his fault, but he had to in order to save everybody. So he even to the part where he's like, I have nothing left, Diana. You said I was meant for something. I have nothing left. This is how he's gonna be able to do it. He's the one that have to pull the unity together. And what a beautiful moment when he was in the mother box and he's pulling apart the mother boxes, really, and they all look like mothers, like old haggards, and he's pulling apart. And he's like, I'm not broken and I'm not alone. And I thought, wow, yes, because he finally found a family within the Justice League, within the members themselves. And I thought that was like, oh, that's super impactful, awesome. And also heavy heart when he, sees, Silence to his father. You see it in the trailers. Oh, you see it in the movie. What am I talking? The spoilers review. You see the father take his own life to sacrifice himself, so that they know where the location of the mother box is going to. Very impactful. I mean, I'm just like at all at the amount of different things that Cyborg had to go through. But to be triumphant and the hero at the end of this movie is very satisfying. I mean, there's even one part where he helps a family. He helps this single mother. I think she's like a waitress, and they don't have money, but he hacks into the system and gets her a lot of money. Those little things that really helps out. Like it doesn't have to be fighting crime. It doesn't have to be something cool. It could be a small gesture like that. And I thought that was a really cool thing to see him do. And I want to mention that the NFL scene, not the NFL scene, but the Gotham football scene, incredible filmmaking, incredible cinematography, the slow motion, the way it's shot and everything. I almost think Zack Snyder would do very well. I don't know if he's done it, would do very well making NFL commercials. I think that would be pretty cool if he did that. But yeah, Cyborg. Phenomenal. He is definitely the heart of the film. He gets his own first flight. He gets his own second flight. Almost, yeah, I wouldn't say kind of like second flight, but even Silas's voice carries on to narrate them in a way, saying what he looks at him as a father, and it's very emotional, and it's absolutely. I gotta see him again. I really want to see Ray Fisher continue as Cyborg in some aspect, in some form, and I hope that happens. I think he has shown quite a range here in this movie that it would be criminal. It would be criminal if we don't see him continue as Cyborg. So congratulations, Ray Fisher. You are definitely the heart of this film. Aquaman has not, out of all the characters, Aquaman had the least amount of arc. You'd like to see, and I don't know if it's because we've seen his solo movie that I didn't feel like we needed to know, like it wasn't as impactful knowing a little bit about him, but it was, it's something that I'm like, well, I wish there was a little bit more to him, but ultimately it was still great to see him in it. He has a lot more action scenes, but a lot of it you see there. He has that interaction with Vocal, which is like a different Vocal than in the Aquaman movie. This Vocal seems more ruggy. I don't know how you would explain it, but he's a lot more passionate, and very much almost not impatient, but angry at Aquaman, Arthur Curry, for not picking up his mother's quindent, right, or trident, as you would say, and so there's a bit of that, and you do get a sense of there's Orm and stuff, but there's least not as much cultural impact for the Atlantis than the Themyscira, but there is enough there to gather like, okay, there is a sense of a different world here than that was in the Solo movie. Like they do have those dolphin clicks and stuff like that when they're not in the air bubble to talk. So there's that. So the suits look all different. There was a crazy scene where the parademons pull out the Atlanteans and to, you know, Steppenwolf wants to know where the mother boxes are, so there's that. And just the way it looks, how it's very blue, it's not very clear, it's very murky in the water, but probably more along like more realistic version of, I say, of the ocean floor. And they mentioned King Orm, of course, his brother and things like that, but it does feel different than what the Solo Aquaman would have been. He does have some interaction with Wonder Woman in terms about their differences. He says he doesn't like Atlanteans as much as she does. Her culture doesn't like Atlanteans, so there's that. So there is a bit of history there that to be more explored, hopefully. And we kind of do explore some of that in the Aquaman movie. But that's where I want to before I get to that, there is the part where he's in Iceland, right, and Bruce gets him, and I thought, like, when I first saw that and I had that lady singing, I was like, wow, they're really focusing on this Icelandic song, or this that song that she was singing, and everybody was singing as well. But then I looked at their viewpoint where the chief of the village was saying that there is no magical man here. What are you talking about? This is all fairy tales. There's nothing like that. And then they realized that he is the dude. Aquaman was the guy saving them, and he's this mythological character, if you will, a magical man and stuff like that. And it brought to me thinking, okay, what it would be like of this village? Maybe this village talks about fairy tales, they talk about legends and myths. They probably sing about them too, and they probably sing about this magical man that saves them and gives them. I don't know what the context of the song. There's no subtitles for the song. There's no English translation, but I like how when she starts singing, Bruce looks over to her, and he looks back in the water, and he's gone. You don't even see him swim off. It's like he never existed. They're just a ripple. And it's like that. It's like when you see something mythological or crypto or something like that, where they're there and they're gone just like that, and you wonder, was he ever there? That magical, mythological creature or whatever. And I'm thinking, this is a song, like they're singing it because they're trying to bring out that this is to them, this is like a fairy tale come to life. Like, there's like, oh my God, God was with us. There was God, and she's smelling because like this belonged to a god. And I thought, oh, I get it now. I get why they threw that in, because to remind us that we are gods. You know, we're not gods. We're among gods. Or gods are among us, and sometimes we don't believe it until we actually see it. And what will we do? So that was that in that way. That was like in BVS, where Superman was in Mexico, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's a god," That was Aquaman's moment for the Icelandic people, just realizing they had God among them, and that's how they worship. So that little bit of worship. So I thought that was really cool to see that happen. And then I like how their singing goes into the scene of Martha burying her son, which was a god, and that's like, okay, that was the myth, this is the real, kind of thing there. So a lot of these little things will probably take apart forever, but that Icelandic thing was something that I was like, oh, I get it. I totally get what they're going for. But we gotta talk about Mera. Let me take a drink here. We gotta talk about Mera, because this Mera has a British accent. This Mera has an accent, and I was like, okay, that's weird. She didn't have an accent in the Aquaman movie, so interesting. But then again, Vulko never had long hair, although he put it up, but he looks different. But this Mera had an accent, and the one thing that is interesting when she talks to Arthur Curry is she says that my parents were killed in the war. Oh, okay, so that was different. They redubbed that. They redid that to say that her parents were gone, went to the war, but no, her parents were dead. She was taken in by Queen Atlantis. So it's like, oh, okay, so this is not, so they totally changed it for Aquaman, where King Nereus was around, and yeah, so that probably is not canon to this. That's the whole point. I was saying that when I was alluding on my show, that I don't think it's no longer canon to this. Like, they're not connected. This would have led to a different Aquaman movie for sure, because her parents are dead. There is no King Nereus, and the soldiers, Atlantean guards, called her Commander Mera, not Princess Mera, Commander Mera. The other one, she was a princess, right? She was a princess to a king, right? And this one, she's a commander. She's protecting the mother box, right? So more militaristic, I would say, but I like to say much more badass in this movie. So it's great to see her this way, leading into Justice League as we see her more, and I'll talk a little bit about that as well for Mera in this. But I thought that was interesting to see the differences. She has an accent, she doesn't have any parents anymore, and she's a commander, which is just very much different from her version in James Wan's Aquaman. Ryan Choi was completely cut out of this whole thing, was, in the theatrical one, but thankfully he's here now, and I was quite surprised how much you see of Ryan Choi. There were many scenes with him, with Silas, and he's a funny dude. He has some funny jokes in there as well, and he even is in the epilogue. Yeah, so in the epilogue, he takes over the ship in Star Labs, and it really is a huge alluding to him to go on to being the Atom. He doesn't become the Atom here, but he has a lot of moments in here, and it's great to see him a lot in this movie. So I'm so happy for that. I want to see more of Genkai's Ryan Choi in the future, and I can't wait to see him as the Atom in the future. So awesome character. I can't wait to see more of him, indeed. Steppenwolf, let's get into villains now. Not too much of Desaad, because Desaad really is just following orders and telling, following orders from Darkseid, but telling Steppenwolf what to do. But Steppenwolf, I am surprised how much more we get to know about Steppenwolf. I'm really shocked to hear more about Steppenwolf in this. And I like that they allude to him trying to assist in a coup again to get Darkseid off the throne, and so somewhere along the lines they failed that. So to gain back Darkseid's respect, he kills off the defectors, and so Darkseid says you have to conquer 50,000 more worlds in order for you to come home. So this whole time he wants to go home. He's trying to go home by doing all these things, and he found a shortcut by finding the anti-life equation. Of course, he does end up going home head first. So he successfully goes home head first, but it does show you once again Zack giving us motivation for these villain characters, kind of like how Zero Zod is doing what he needs to do because that's how he feels, like Lex doing what he needs to do because they think it's right, they think that's their intent and stuff like that. He's the same thing. I'd say Darkseid is more of the evil guy. Darkseid is more of the one who wants revenge against those that took him down in the history lesson, and so on and so forth. But Steppenwolf has a very much a big motivation here. You do see a lot more of his expression, his fear from his fear of his nephew. As it ripples away, it's like, oh my God, his Darkseid's gonna talk to me now. I better kneel to him and stuff like that. It really shows you how powerful Darkseid is compared to him, and stuff like that. But he is massive. He is powerful. He definitely does give all the other heroes a beating until Superman shows up and tells them, not impressed. Not impressed at all. So really cool arc for him, and he's really brutal. Everything Steppenwolf should have been. Absolutely love the CGI on this guy. They really worked on him. I love how the metal just goes and puts back up and puts the head on. It's crazy. It's really cool. Really cool. So Steppenwolf, fantastic villain. Not as good as General Zod, but it's up there in terms of brutality in that sense, right? But this is Darkseid, man. Darkseid gets a lot of scenes. Like, not only is he in the Vision. Let me see what I'm talking about here. I think there is more. Oh, okay. So it's before that. So, we do get Darkseid. We see him as Uxas in the history lesson. It was shorter than I thought. I thought it was going to be like a 20-minute fight, but it was still like about 8 to 10 minutes, which is still a lot longer than it was before. But you do get to see him in action. You do get to see him bleed. He kills Lantern, chops off his arm, which is freaking awesome. But I love the CGI on him. Like, they really worked on a lot of details, especially when you see him in Apocalypse. And nothing more than him just being evil. But I love it. I love the vision that happens when Cyborg injects himself in the Vision, and you do get a sense of that. And I think I'm supposed to talk about that later on in this one. But you do see, I don't know how Wonder Woman dies in that Vision. She has the coins on her, and you do see him overlooking the funeral scene. What I expect was, if it's the storyboards, then there was another way that she dies. But unless Darkseid is involved in that, you do see him kill Aquaman, stabs him with his own trident, and freaking Omega beams everybody else. That was freaking awesome. I love that. You see him hovering over Superman. Since we're going to get into that, let's just go into the next moment here. Turning Superman into an evil Superman. So, and he's still in the black suit, and so Superman is overlooking a charred corpse here, which we know is probably Lois Lane. And so losing Lois Lane in the Batcave, as you see Robin in the Robin suit in the background, which I thought I was going to have a picture for. Maybe I don't. Nope. So I don't have a picture of that, but you do see, like, in the background, you do see the Robin costume, and that's signifying that that's the Batcave. And then Darkseid puts his hand over him, in which he turns him into this dude right here, the evil Nightmare Superman that's supposed to be. So, like, nothing has changed in that respect. So in that scene where Cyborg is hooked up into the thing, into the scout ship, you hear Carla Gugino's voice saying, the future, pretty much, you set in motion the future that's supposed to be, and which you didn't stop it at all. So he says no. Barry thought he says go and set in motion this whole thing that is supposed to happen, which is in Justice League 2 and 3, which Superman turns evil, Lois dies, and they need the ragtag team of adventurers and stuff like that. So that's pretty much the basics of all those characters and their arcs, and it's great to see them all in action for the first time. It's great to see, Darkseid for the first time live action, staring down at the League at the end, and they're looking up at him, and pretty much hinting at the future that they're going to meet up once again. This is Darkseid's goal, to destroy them, and they're looking at their doom. They're looking at the thing that will kill them. So I think that was a great little interaction between each other, and alluding to the future, and makes everyone just absolutely begging for more of that interaction. But it ends on a happy note. It really does. They all get their due, Aquaman just goes backstage and I gotta go see my father. Wonder Woman longing to go back home. And of course I talked about Superman and Batman. Flash just like nice little grinning and just running around the city, and Cyborg gets the whole thing about listening to Silas with the father twice over speech, and it's just a great closing for all that. But it doesn't end there. It has the Lex Luthor and Deathstroke thing, which alludes to Batman versus Deathstroke movie. I don't know if that's going to happen, but even if that doesn't happen, I think that still could allude to a Legion of Doom possibility in Justice League 2, as Lex Luthor is still very much around. He knows about Steppenwolf, and we know from the storyboards that he knows about the mother boxes as well. So there is still a story to be told with that element in possibly Justice League 2. So that's where that comes in. But the biggest moment, I'd say, is the Nightmare Future. The Nightmare Vision, you see the ragtag team, which is Joker, Mera, Cyborg, Flash, Deathstroke, Batman, all in there. And one of the best moments, I think, of that is just the interaction. Just two dudes talking to each other. Batman and Joker talking to each other. And Joker alluding to the fact that, how many, like his line says, how many alternate realities you're going to realize until that you need to sacrifice yourself, Batman. Everybody's sacrificing themselves, but you, and this time you need to do it in order to make things right. It's almost like an omen or just a message of what things to come, and how he, in order to fix all this, Batman has to do the thing and be the one to sacrifice himself. They talk about Robin. They even talk about Harley Quinn, how Harley Quinn died in Batman's arms, and I'm like, wow, that's interesting. But the truce the truce between Joker and Batman with the card, that's where the card comes in. That's put on the gun. And I really wanted to see more of this. I want a whole film of this. Seriously, like even this was a pretty long segment, but, in terms of how we thought it was going to be, like really short clips. But it was a nice long segment, but it made me want more. It made me absolutely want more. And so I hope we get more. But you do see Superman come down, and he wakes up Bruce into the lake house, which I know is additional photography because he looks a lot more slimmer, and it's to include Martian Manhunter. So Bruce wakes up, goes outside, sees Martian Manhunter. Martian Manhunter talks to him about, I didn't think you were able to pull things, unite people together, and it was like at first I was kind of like a little bit on the CGI does need a little bit more work, but that didn't bother me because I was so in the moment, and it's still pretty awesome to see Harry Lennox play the Martian Manhunter. But I love that, like I said earlier, Bruce is accepting of him now, and he says, okay, well, it's good to see you. It's great to see your help. We need the help, and also just alluding that there's something dark in the future. There's something coming, but at the same time, it's in the sunlight. It's in the dawn of justice, if you will, and for more League members to show up, and I think he's going to be gathering them. Like at the end where Bruce is like, I guess I'll see you around, as almost like a wink in a way. I guess I'll see you around in the next movie, maybe, hopefully, I don't know, but we do need to see them in the future. I think if this doesn't excite you, I don't know what will, because we do need to see Darkseid in the future. We do need to see Justice League 2. And so if this movie did anything, it absolutely made you want to see more, and I can't wait to see more. If any of that Nightmare Future ever comes to play, I would be definitely a happy camper indeed, and everybody else would be. So yeah, that pretty much concludes my summary and my thoughts and all the characters in this spoiler review of Zack Snyder's Justice League. I'm sure there's a lot more elements of it that we will come to know of and come to learn of and come to realize as we continue to watch this movie, but those are kind of like what I gathered it from now, all the different aspects of it now, and how it connects to other films or not connects to other films, and just the drive to want to see more. The omens, the bad omens, the messages in here telling about more for that there is not a good future coming for these characters and they have to be prepared, or in this sense, they can't stop it. It's unstoppable. Whatever they tried to do, whether it's Flash fixing time, it's inevitable that Darkseid will come and rule the earth. So unless one character decides to sacrifice himself, which is Batman. So I love that. Can't wait to see the ending of this mythological epic adventure in probably Justice League 2 and 3. Hopefully, crossing our fingers that happens. And I hope you enjoyed this spoilery review of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Let me know your comments and thoughts down below if you've already seen it. Of course, if you haven't, I don't know why you're watching this, but definitely it's an epic adventure. I will have, we will have a Saturday live chat discussion on spoilery stuff this Saturday. So hope you join me for that. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. Like I said, if you absolutely love this daily dose of entertainment news and content, please click the like button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and I'll see you next time. Bye.